You've looked into someone's eyes and felt a strange recognition. You've stood in a place for the first time, yet your heart whispered, "I've been here before." These moments are dismissed by many as tricks of the mind, but to Helena Blavatsky, they are windows into a deeper reality, a reality in which the soul does not die, but returns again and again to continue its journey. This idea, known as reincarnation, is not new. It spans ancient Hindu, Buddhist, and Egyptian traditions. But Blavatsky brought this wisdom into the modern Western world and gave it a voice rooted in cosmic law. She taught that the soul's return is not a random occurrence, but part of a divine and intelligent system known as karma. Karma and reincarnation are inseparable. One creates the need for return, the other provides the path. Blavatsky didn't just speak of reincarnation as a comforting idea. She saw it as the very key to understanding life's mysteries, why we suffer, why we succeed, and why we are drawn to certain people or places. To her, the soul is eternal, and life is a series of classrooms in which it evolves. You have lived before, you will live again, and every step of that journey is governed by the energy you've set in motion. This is the eternal return, not as a punishment, but as the soul's great opportunity for growth. In this video, we will explore how Helena Blavatsky explained the soul's journey through many lives, how karma shapes each rebirth, and why this ancient truth may change the way you see yourself forever. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky was not just a mystic, she was a revolutionary. In the late 19th century, she challenged materialist thinking and reintroduced ancient Eastern wisdom to a skeptical Western world. Her magnum opus, The Secret Doctrine, is a vast ocean of esoteric knowledge, drawing from Hinduism, Buddhism, and Gnosticism. But at its heart lies a simple and profound truth. We are not our bodies. We are eternal beings undergoing temporary experiences. Blavatsky described the human being as a composite of multiple layers or principles. The physical body is just the outer shell. Beneath it lies the astral body, the mind, the desire body, and beyond all of them, the true self, the monad. This monad is divine and unchanging. It is the spark of the absolute that travels through lifetimes wrapped in ever-changing garments. Each incarnation is like a new costume, a new role in the theater of evolution. But why must the soul return? Blavatsky explained that the monad seeks experience. It cannot grow or learn on its own, so it descends into the physical world, lifetime after lifetime, to gather knowledge, overcome challenges, and ultimately remember its divine origin. This descent is not a fall, it is a sacred journey. Reincarnation is the soul's way of refining itself. Each life is an alchemical process, joy and pain, success and failure, love and loss. All are ingredients that transform the raw soul into something luminous. To Blavatsky, reincarnation was not just a spiritual belief, it was the mechanism of cosmic justice and soul evolution. But what drives the return? What force ensures that the soul is reborn in the circumstances it needs? For Blavatsky, that force is karma. Often misunderstood as punishment, karma is better seen as balance. Every action, every thought, every intention generates an energy. That energy must return to its source. If we send out harm, harm returns, not out of vengeance, but because the universe is built on equilibrium. Karma is the teacher. Reincarnation is the classroom. The two cannot be separated. Blavatsky emphasized that karma is not fate, it's responsibility. It does not condemn, it educates. When we make choices, we shape our future incarnations. A soul that misuses power in one life may be born powerless in the next, not as punishment, but as a means to understand empathy and humility. A person who loves deeply and selflessly may find love return to them in another life, even if it doesn't happen in this one. Karma is patient. It waits across lifetimes to complete its lessons. And because we forget our past lives, those lessons often appear as mysteries or even suffering. But to Blavatsky, every event, especially those we resist, is part of a larger karmic unfolding. We meet certain people not by accident, but because there is a karmic debt or blessing to be exchanged. We face specific trials not because we are cursed, but because they hold the key to our soul's next evolution. Understanding karma is not about fear, it's about awareness. With each thought, each action, we are creating the blueprint for lives to come. A common objection to reincarnation is memory. If we have lived before, why don't we remember? Blavatsky answered this with clarity. The forgetting is part of the process. Imagine entering a classroom with perfect knowledge of the test answers. Growth would be impossible. Forgetting is not a flaw, it's a feature. The soul retains the essence of each life, like a tree absorbs the nutrients from fallen leaves. The experiences become part of our inner being, shaping instincts, talents, and even fears. A child prodigy who plays the piano without formal training may be expressing gifts developed over lifetimes. A person who has a deep fear of water may carry trauma from a past drowning. The soul remembers what the mind cannot. And sometimes that memory leaks through, in dreams, déjà vu, or sudden connections to people and places. Blavatsky wrote about these phenomena not as anomalies, but as spiritual hints, signs that we are more than we seem. She also believed that as a soul evolves, it becomes more capable of accessing its past. Advanced souls may reincarnate with fragments of conscious memory, guiding them toward specific missions. Saints, sages, and great spiritual teachers often speak of having lived before. In some cases, they even identify past lives with remarkable detail. But for most of us, the veil is necessary. It allows us to experience this life fully, without being haunted by the unresolved dramas of the past. The soul carries its lessons forward, whether we consciously know it or not. In Blavatsky's teachings, the soul's journey is not a random wandering, but a carefully structured path guided by spiritual laws. Each reincarnation serves a purpose, even if that purpose remains hidden from our conscious mind. For example, we may be born into a specific family not by coincidence, but because of karmic ties, unfinished lessons, debts, or blessings from past lives. The soul chooses the setting that will best foster its growth. Sometimes that means entering into painful or difficult circumstances. A child born into poverty may be repaying a karmic debt of greed or learning the value of compassion. A person born with a disability might be developing patience, inner strength, or surrender. This does not mean we should accept suffering passively. On the contrary, Blavatsky taught that awareness of karma empowers us. By understanding that our circumstances are not punishments, but opportunities, we become active participants in our evolution. Every challenge can be transformed into a stepping stone. Every injustice becomes a chance to develop wisdom. And when we act with love, integrity, and truth, we change the trajectory of our future lives. We break cycles. We open new paths. Blavatsky also emphasized that we are not alone in this journey. Souls often reincarnate in groups. Families, friends, lovers, even enemies. Many of these relationships repeat across lifetimes, shifting roles, but always serving mutual growth. The mother in this life may have been a daughter in the last. The rival who challenges you now may have once been your teacher. These soul groups act as mirrors and catalysts. Through them, we evolve together. One of Blavatsky's most powerful ideas was that reincarnation offers hope, not only for the individual soul, but for humanity as a whole. Imagine a world where each soul must return to the consequences of its actions. Suddenly, the pursuit of justice and compassion takes on eternal weight. There is no escaping what we create. If we exploit others, we may one day live as the exploited. If we heal, we may return in a life blessed by healing. This vision removes the idea of permanent injustice. The tyrant may seem victorious in one life, but the wheel turns. The oppressed may seem defeated, but their soul's nobility endures and is rewarded in time. In this way, karma ensures that every being, no matter how far they stray, is eventually brought back into balance. There is no eternal damnation, only eternal correction. And for those who feel lost or broken, this teaching is profoundly healing. You are not condemned. You are evolving. Every step you take toward truth and kindness echoes beyond this life, and the steps you took in past lives are still walking with you. This is why Blavatsky urged her readers to cultivate self-awareness and ethical living. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. The soul is always watching, always learning, always shaping its next form. To live well today is to bless tomorrow. And to suffer today is not to be cursed, but to be purified. In the long arc of the soul's journey, nothing is wasted. But how does the soul know when and where to reincarnate? According to Blavatsky, this is not left to chance. After death, the soul enters what she called the devachanic state, a kind of spiritual resting place. In this state, the soul reflects on its past life, absorbs its lessons, and prepares for the next. It is not conscious in the way we understand consciousness, but it is active. Blavatsky described this realm as a place of peace and fulfillment, where the higher aspects of the soul are nurtured. Then, when the karmic conditions are right, the soul is drawn toward rebirth. This pull is not random, it follows vibrational law. The soul gravitates toward the family, culture, and environment that matches its karmic frequency. This is why, even before birth, our lives are already infused with meaning. The challenges we will face are the ones our soul has chosen to master. The people we will meet are those with whom we have karmic agreements, and the talents we carry are gifts refined over centuries. Blavatsky taught that reincarnation continues until the soul has mastered all aspects of human experience, until it no longer needs to return. At that point, the soul may ascend to higher realms of being or choose to reincarnate out of compassion to guide others. These are the bodhisattvas, the enlightened beings who return not because they must, but because they love. Blavatsky's vision of reincarnation stands in contrast to many religious teachings that propose a single lifetime followed by judgment. She saw this as both unjust and incomplete. How can one short life determine eternal fate? How can a soul born into hardship be held to the same standard as one born into privilege? Reincarnation, in her view, restores spiritual justice. It gives each soul the time and space to learn, to fall, and to rise again. It explains the mystery of inequality, not as divine favoritism, but as the unfolding of karma. And it removes the fear of death. Death, she taught, is not an end. It is a pause, a doorway, a sacred moment of transition. We shed the body like a worn-out garment and return to spirit, only to be reborn when the time is right. Blavatsky's writings challenge us to expand our concept of self. We are not just this name, this face, this story. We are vast, ancient beings, souls who have danced through centuries. The choices we make now ripple through eternity. But more than that, we are part of a collective evolution. Humanity itself is on a karmic journey. Civilizations rise and fall. Ideas are born, suppressed, and reborn. The soul of humanity, like the individual soul, is being refined, and each of us contributes to that process. Our awakening helps awaken the world. One of the most moving aspects of Blavatsky's view on reincarnation is the idea that no soul is ever truly lost. No matter how many lifetimes we spend in ignorance or error, we are always moving toward light. Some paths are longer, some detours more painful. But the law of karma ensures that every soul eventually finds its way home. Blavatsky did not believe in eternal punishment. She believed in eternal growth. Even the darkest soul carries a spark of the divine, and that spark can never be extinguished. It may be buried, denied, or forgotten, but it burns on. This offers hope to all of us, not just for ourselves, but for those we love. Even those who seem beyond redemption are on their journey. We cannot always see their path, but it exists. And perhaps, in a future life, they will become the healers, the teachers, the peacemakers. Reincarnation reminds us to be patient with others and with ourselves. It teaches forgiveness. If we've wronged someone in the past, we may have a chance to make it right. If we've been wronged, karma will take care of it, not through revenge, but through balance. We do not need to carry the weight of justice. The universe does that for us. Our task is to learn, to grow, and to love more deeply with each life. Blavatsky also addressed one of the most painful questions. Why do the innocent suffer? Why do children die young, or good people endure hardship? In her framework, these tragedies are not meaningless. They are part of a soul's larger story, chapters we cannot yet see. A child who dies young may have chosen a short life to resolve a specific karmic knot. A person who suffers unjustly may be balancing past actions or developing spiritual strength. This does not mean we should accept injustice silently. On the contrary, knowing that others' pain may be part of their soul's journey only deepens our compassion. Blavatsky called on her students to be agents of good karma, to relieve suffering, uplift others, and live ethically, because every act of kindness plants seeds for future beauty. Reincarnation teaches that our lives matter, not just to us, but to the entire web of life. Each thought is a thread, each decision a stitch in the soul's tapestry. Over lifetimes, that tapestry becomes richer, more complex, more beautiful, and ultimately the soul becomes radiant enough to see beyond illusion, to see itself as part of the eternal divine. That is the purpose of all these lives, not just to exist, but to awaken. In the process of reincarnation, the soul doesn't just evolve through experience, it also evolves through choice. Blavatsky emphasized that free will plays a central role in karma. While the circumstances of a new birth may be influenced by past actions, the soul always has the ability to respond in new ways. This means that even in the face of difficult karma, transformation is possible. A person born into pain can choose compassion over bitterness. Someone born into privilege can choose generosity over entitlement. These choices are the soul's tools. They carve new paths, forge new destinies. This is why, according to Blavatsky, life is sacred, not because it is permanent, but because it is potent. Every lifetime offers a unique opportunity to refine the soul's light, and the more conscious we become of this truth, the more powerfully we shape the road ahead. There is no wasted moment, no insignificant action. Every word carries a vibration. Every act radiates into the future. This is also why she believed in the power of spiritual disciplines, meditation, study, service. These practices, when done with sincerity, accelerate evolution. They help us remember who we are beneath the layers of personality and past conditioning, and as we become more conscious, we begin to sense the larger rhythm of our own soul's story. We feel guided, we sense purpose, the veil begins to lift. And even if we cannot recall our past lives in full, we start to understand the present moment as the fruit of something ancient, sacred, and deeply intentional. Blavatsky's teachings on reincarnation do not belong only to the past. In fact, their relevance has only grown in today's world. In an age of fragmentation and confusion, they offer a coherent framework for understanding life's complexities. They dissolve the illusion of separateness. When we realize that the person beside us may once have been our mother, our child, or our enemy from another life, something changes in our heart. Judgment softens, compassion grows. The concept of reincarnation challenges us to rise above superficial identities, race, gender, nationality, and see the soul behind the form. It reminds us that we are all on the same path, even if we are at different points along it. Blavatsky also warned that ignoring these truths comes at a cost. Without awareness of karma, we live unconsciously, repeating the same mistakes across lifetimes. Without a sense of the soul's journey, we cling to temporary pleasures and miss deeper meaning. But with awareness, life becomes sacred again. Death loses its sting, and love becomes our guiding force, not just romantic love, but the love that sees the divine in every being. That is the love that frees us. That is the love that prepares the soul for its next incarnation. Not as escape, but as conscious return, as willing participation in the dance of life. Throughout her life, Blavatsky faced ridicule, doubt, and fierce opposition, but she never stopped proclaiming the eternal truths she had glimpsed. To her, the idea that we live only once was a denial of the soul's grandeur. She invited us to step into a larger vision, one in which we are not victims of fate, but co-creators of our destiny. She taught that the purpose of reincarnation is not simply to exist repeatedly, but to awaken. With each return, we move closer to who we truly are. We shed illusion. We reclaim our divine nature. And as we awaken, we help awaken the world. Because the soul's evolution is not a private matter. It is a flame that lights others. A soul that grows in wisdom naturally becomes a source of guidance for those still stumbling through shadow. That is why some people feel a deep calling to help others, even at personal cost. They are remembering, they are responding to a karmic thread that stretches across lifetimes. And as they follow that thread, they are weaving the next chapter, not only of their own story, but of humanity's. Helena Blavatsky left behind more than books. She left behind a map, a way to understand suffering, joy, destiny, and death. She reminded us that everything is connected, everything returns, and everything matters. When we embrace the idea of reincarnation, we begin to live differently. We treat others not as strangers, but as souls. We view our challenges not as curses, but as invitations. We see life itself, not just this one, but all of them, as a sacred journey of becoming. And we stop fearing death because we know it is not the end, just a change of form, a turning of the page. The soul continues. It always has. And you, the one watching this now, you are part of that great story. You have lived before, you will live again, and the choices you make in this life will echo forward, shaping lifetimes still to come. So live well, love deeply, learn courageously, because the eternal return of the soul is not a prison, it is a gift, a chance to become at last who you truly are. In the stillness between lives, your soul remembers. It carries with it the songs of joy and the wounds of sorrow, the laughter of past loves, and the silence of lessons half learned. It waits, not to be judged, but to choose. And when the moment is right, it returns, not to repeat blindly, but to evolve. This is the essence of the eternal return, not a cycle of punishment, but a spiral of awakening. Blavatsky taught that when we begin to see our lives this way, everything changes. Regret gives way to responsibility. Fear yields to trust. And our time here, however short or long, becomes a sacred act, You are not here by accident. You are not a mistake. You are a soul with a memory older than the stars and a purpose still unfolding. The karmic threads that brought you to this moment are woven with intention. So take this life in your hands, honor it, and remember, as Blavatsky did, that you are not at the end. You are simply at another beginning. One more chapter in the soul's eternal story. One more chance to awaken. One more chance to return, not to what you were, but to who you truly are.